Thanks, everyone, for coming. As you know, we have with us the Special Rapporteur on the Right to Food, Ms. Hilal Elver. And I'm just going to pass the floor immediately to her for her opener, and then we'll take questions. Thanks. Please go ahead, Ms. Elver.
Good afternoon to you all. Thank you for coming for this press conference. As you know, this morning I presented my report to the Third Committee of the UN General Assembly. Basically, in my report, I focus on recent problems of the famine around the world, which, according to FAO and the United Nations reports, we have 20 million people are under severe famine threat, and 70 million, even more, that about to go into this fifth level of the serious food insecurity. As you know, there are 5 different types of the starvation and food insecurity, severe food insecurity, emergency. All these things are a kind of rules that we defined according to rules what countries are falling to do. And it's a serious issue because this is, according to UN again, the most severe humanitarian crisis since the United Nations was established. That's a very serious issue. And also, if we look at the FAO SOFI report, which is a State of Food Security report in 2017, now we have 815 million people are in undernourished, which is way more than the last year, even seriously more than if we go to 2015. So there is an important issue. Rather than reducing our food security, now we are increasing. The major reasons of this, as in my report I pointed out, the conflict situation. I put the first important severe dangerous countries, which is South Sudan, Somalia, Yemen, and northern Nigeria. And also Syria has some packets have problems of the famine. My basic focus on this report, first of all, I would like to remind the international community there are a series of international commitments to act against hunger and severe malnutrition, which is famine and starvation. And there are rules and principles in international humanitarian law, international human rights law, and the international criminal law. But what we see, there is also widespread of the impunity among the international community when famine comes, if the famine is coming from deliberate action by states or other players using food as a weapon of war, it is the international crime, and there is an individual responsibility on that. We don't see a lot of impunity on this issue. International Criminal Court, for instance, never been indicted any individuals in relation to famine. What I'm making the point that international community should make kind of serious kind of act to make clear that this is a war crimes or crimes against humanity. Otherwise, we will give a certain kind of not real, but some kind of permission that countries and the other actors really use just for innocent people. If you look at the recent conflicts, which conflict is becoming more and more now, 40% more conflicts since 2015, for instance. It's becoming bigger and much more larger area because it spill over to also neighbors. And these issues are preventable. And then we really have to make carefully look on this issue. This was the general idea of my report. I gave some examples, as I said, for countries, but now, for instance, Rohingya came after I finished my report, and there are other protracted crises around the world. I couldn't put everything in the report, but these are examples, major examples. And we really have to look at carefully. Not all famine is crimes against humanity. Famine can be in a much more, it could happen without the responsibility of the governments, but it could also happen with deliberate action. I'm talking about the deliberate action is a crimes against humanity, not the whole famine. Let me stop here, and I can answer your questions on that issue.